Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvellously well. It is the holiday season. It is the week of Christmas, so happy Christmas to all of you. We have a special one today because it's our good friend, Mr. Bob Horn. Bob is a mentor of ours now for quite a few years. We've done a lot of courses with him. He's insanely talented, works in all genres, and this is some clips of a new course that he just put out, which is rather wonderful. This is from an artist called Peyton, who's actually rather successful. I think this song has quite a few million plays, for instance. Bob is going to take us through how he mixes an 808, how he basically gets a kick 808 to sit in a mix. He's also going to do some parallel processing on the vocal track, as well as how he manages the low end on his Masterbus. Three pretty powerful things. I think actually all the ones that come up all the time is how to mix low end and how to get vocals sounding good. So stay tuned for Mr. Bob Horn taking us through, I suppose you could kind of call this a pop hip hop track. It's pretty modern, and Bob will show us how he mixes those elements.
Okay, so this is on the verse before the hook. We have an electric bass and these 808s, or this one 808, and then on the hook, a second 808 that's kind of messed up and distorted pops in. So on the verse, pretty standard 808. This really isn't an 808 prominent song. Like, it's more based around the kick. The 808 is really just to give it some sub. And the bass itself is an electric bass, played finger style. It's not especially low. So there's room for an 808 just to be in there, just to give us, you know, that nice depth. Originally it sounded like this. It's fine, you know, it sounds cool. A little bit of sustain reduction. And a little bit of C6. So we're using the shelf band at 92, but we're tapping harder on, you know, a little bit higher than that with the bell band at 100. And then we have that T-Rax plugin, the classic clipper again. Bypass that again. So this clipper is kind of, you know, giving it energy. It gives it, wakes it up a little bit. It's like a little cup of coffee for the 808. So we're getting the notes evened out, the low end evened out. You know, it's just sounding cooler, and we're gonna hear it better. You know, especially because it's not an upfront 808, it's behind the kick. Hearing the notes more evenly will give us a more consistent bass. A little bit of limiter, just tapping, not hard. Just you can see the difference in levels of these notes. It's really just to even them out and have the same volume on the 808. We don't really want dynamics. I didn't want dynamics on the 808. Of course, like we mentioned before, you know, clipping and limiting can kind of bring your mid-range up. Sometimes that's desirable. Other times, you know, you want to EQ it afterwards to bring it back down. So pop this in. So it kind of gets that 800 hertz, 900 hertz out of your ear, so you can focus more on the low tones of it, you know. And then lastly, we got a little bit of shelf action with the metric halo EQ. Soloed, I like better without that plugin. Of course, you can't go by that because it's not a game of soloing. We gotta put it in the mix. Yeah, so let's leave that. But that 808 is joined by a more distorted version in the chorus. So let's see what we got going on. We got the clipper again on the end. Let me just quickly look. Okay, this is where the big difference is. We got micro shift making it a stereo thing. Definitely some modulation on there, just making it more fun. Looks like different chain all the way through. Let's hear this without any plugins. Okay, so it does seem like the same 808, it's just processed really different. First we got a bunch of lows cut out and the highs. I'm sure that was Donald. Yep, and then the transient designer pulling down the sustain. And then in decapitator with the punish on, so it's because it's not an immense amount of level, it's not super crunchy, but it's getting a little bit fuzzy. And then this was also Donald. Just a little bit of EQ, pushing up some mids, cutting more lows. I don't know if that was really necessary. It's not that, I don't think there's that many lows in the sound anymore. But yeah, I guess a little bit of stuff going on. So make that, now it's super tight. So this is where the magic for this sound comes in. It's just micro shift, pretty much how it comes up as the stock preset. It's on style 1, mixes all the way up. A little bit of delay, I think, was added. Might have to crank that up in your speakers a little bit, but now it's become just this stereo sound without a lot of bass because the main 808 has all the low end. So this is just giving it a stereo effect. We got some mids pushed up. A little bit of 1K. And then lastly, the clipper. Kind of bringing that fuzz up. Also used it to bring the level up some. This is a pretty low level sound. So together, and again, like that's pretty far back. It's not a real prominent 808. But you see how cool the stereo effect adds to that 808 and makes it more interesting without it. Yeah, that's good too. It's just, preference.
Please check out the link below to the course. There's a far more in-depth 2-hour version of this video in there, so check it out.
The vocals on the song are pretty interesting. They're not sung with a lot of force. It's just a real kind of vibe, very soft, not super soft, but kind of a soft sung vocal, even on the hook. We have 3 vocals, 2 for the verse, kind of pre-chorus, and then the chorus. And then we have just a handful of backgrounds that back it up, and those aren't even that loud, they're more supporting. A lot of processing on these vocals, and the reason why is because when I get Peyton's stuff, they're very particular on the vocal tone, and what I do is I take their vocal that they had in Pro Tools and I duplicate it and wipe out all the plugins, and I do what I normally do, but then sometime, and I'll compare it to theirs. And in this song, I ended up with a hybrid of what I like and what they had, but I adjusted little things here and there and added to it. And at the end, I ended up with a jillion plugins on these vocals. So my rule is if it sounds good, just go with it. I mean, I tend to go a lot off of feel, and sometimes I will do a dip on one EQ, but I'll use another EQ for a boost in a different area, because once I learn a plugin and what it sounds like, I want to hear a sound in my head. So if I hear something needs a certain type of high end, I might hear that, okay, the Pro Q2 isn't the right thing for the high end, but the UAD Pultec Pro is the right thing for the high end. So I'll do a cut, in the high mids or mids on the Pro Q2, and then go to the Pultec for a boost on the high end. I could have done the same boost at the same frequency on a different EQ on the first EQ, but I didn't because the other one sounds different. So sometimes I end up with a lot of plugins on my vocals, but no harm in that. It works. It sounds great. So let's break that down.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now. Start appearing, I still see you on my phone now. And I've been
So let's just, while we're talking about the parallel, let's just go through that. So I'm going to take the main aux out of the stereo bus so you can just hear the parallel. So just inactivate this output, and now all we're hearing is this parallel.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go.
So what's that, 34 and a half?
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now. Start
So you can hear it's a very fuzzy, very stereo modulated with the doubler plugin. So it's an interesting parallel. It's not just your standard parallel compression, but it adds something kind of cool. So we start off with the doubler, nothing in the center. We turn the center off. So we just get the sides. So it kind of wraps around the vocal that's in the center. Distressor for some strong compression.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now. Start
Kind
appearing.
of almost medium attack, faster, medium release. Sorry, I said that backwards. Attack, release. And the 4-to-1 ratio, pretty strong on the reduction.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now.
The transformer gives us some fuzziness.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now. Start I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now. Start
Kind of cool. Gives us a cool saturation. Then limiting.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now. Start appearing, I still see you on my.
So it's only limiting stuff that pops out. Otherwise, it's letting it live, you know?
I've been hearing that you haven't let me
Grabs
go.
that first transient and then, you know, probably a few more through the song, but it's not very strong. And then a little bit of that presence, clarity, and then tucking the lows so that it's not too tubby, you know?
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go.
See how heavy it is because of his proximity, like the low humming. So we're cutting that out and boosting up a little bit of presence.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now.
So if we undo and put this level back, there we go. And then put the aux back into the stereo bus and we listen again.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now. Start appearing, I still see you on my phone now.
So listen to the texture, listen to the mid-range of the vocal without it and with it.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now. Start appearing. I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now. Start appearing, I still see you on my phone now.
So that's what we're blending in.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me.
It's like really down there, really low. It's just a little texture. So then the vocal itself, let's turn that off.
I've been hearing that you haven't let me go now.
Let's look at all this craziness. All right. So lastly, these are on the digital input, which are technically still the stereo bus. So I have 2 more plugins on the stereo bus. They could have gone over here. They just ended up over here. But a lot of times I will audition different things. So I'll try the Pro L limiter, and then I'll try Limitless by DMG. I'll try the God Particle by Jason Joshua. I'll try Lursen Mastering Console. I'll just take one, slide it over, inactivate it, try another, slide it over, which one's the best, and work with them until I find what I like. Sometimes I'll get rid of stuff. Sometimes I'll add stuff. I'm not a person that takes a plugin and forces on stuff. When people ask me what my Masterbus chain is or what my vocal chain is, it could be different every day. It could be the same for 3 weeks, you know. Just depends. Like I do everything by ear and by feel and not because I'm used to using something. I might start with something because I'm used to it. Like maybe I'll go for the same de-esser I've been using for months. If it's not working, I'll try another one. It's like, don't be scared to A/B stuff and try stuff, you know. And the very last plugin in our session to show you guys is Bass Room, which I love a lot. Looks like I'm pretty heavy-handed in some of the upper frequencies. It's a weird interface. It's not traditional. Basically, these are your frequencies. So take an EQ plugin you might be used to with a graph that goes sideways, and turn it vertically. And now you have 20 hertz to 40 hertz, 40 hertz to 80, 80 to, 160, and then up to 320. So if you hold control, you can solo these different bands.
When you pass out, worry where you at. Trying to find another way out.
It goes super low. But what I like to do with this, sometimes I yank these bands around and they go up and down. So this is negative, this is positive, and then this is the bandwidth right here. So very interesting take on EQ. The thing about it is it might look kind of crazy or silly, whatever you think, but it sounds really, really good. And I like it on my bass aux, sometimes the bass itself, but I definitely like it on the stereo bus. Looks like I dipped this range about 2.3 dB. Pretty hefty EQ for a stereo bus, kind of going against my principles, but I did it and it worked. So whatever. Dipping the super, super lows. I mean, we're talking way down there, just to tighten things. A little bit of the low mids, a little bit of a dip, and then the others are pretty close to flat. But yeah, let me bypass and unbypass this for you.
11:30 when your friends told me you passed out. All these stories got me worried where you at now. Manipulated, trying to find another way out. Find a way out, a way out. 11:30 when your friends told me you passed out. All these stories got me worried where you at.
So it definitely cleans it up. And I mean, it even opened up. I hear the S's better on the vocals when, some of those frequencies get removed. So very cool. That will do it. That is it. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that mix breakdown. Again, this was Peyton Moormeyer. The song is Way Out. Producer was Donald Phillip. Peyton, he's been gaining a lot of followers recently on social media. We just did his EP. It's out on all the platforms. He's got some videos out, so go follow him. Check out more courses on ProMixAcademy.com. And I appreciate you guys, and have a good one. Talk to you soon.
I hope you enjoyed that. Please check out Bob's course. There's a link down below. It's 2 hours long and it's super in depth. And of course, you get to download all of the multi-tracks and mix along with Bob. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas for the Americans. And have a marvelous time. See you all again very, very soon. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Au revoir. Happy Christmas. Goodbye.